Hey, my name is Brian. That is Shane. This is the podcast. We are doing a frame-by-frame review. Shane, how you doing today, bro?
Good, doing really good. We were fortunate enough to get an early look at episode 1 entitled The Broken Circle, and looking forward to going through it with you guys. Make sure you come back here every week. We'll have a new breakdown for you on the latest Strange New Worlds episode every Thursday morning for the next 10 weeks. So, should be exciting.
Oh, yeah, real exciting. Okay, so if you don't know how this works, it's pretty simple. Is we go through every frame of this wonderful episode, or not wonderful, who knows? And if we like something, we give it an upvote, and if we dislike something, we give it a downvote, and at the very end of the episode, we're going to average those two totals and come up with an official podcast score, frame by frame, baby. Ready, Shane? It's been a while since we've done this, so I'm a little like, I'm a little rusty.
It looks like they got you here in the previews from the previous season here first.
Yeah.
And,
basically, this is showing their fight with the Gorn and the little girl they rescued. And what I think is the worst episode of last season, when they killed our beloved Hemmer and also butchered our idea of what the Gorn should be.
Yeah, or that the fact that the Gorn shouldn't be aware of, Starfleet shouldn't know who they are at all. But okay.
Right. I almost want to just like instantly downvote this because they're showing us this preview, but I know it's not part of the episode, so we can't.
We downvoted the hell out of it last year, so we're good.
Yeah, I think last year this was the lowest rated episode of the season.
100%.
All right. So Captain Pike is this is also a flashback where Una Una got pulled away. So additionally, they showed that the kid they rescued from the Gorn, and now they're also showing the fact that Pike's girlfriend, and I forgot her name, so I'm not even gonna try, arrested Una, and Una has been taken away, and Pike is not happy about it.
Yeah, he's not, and that's kind of where we end up at the beginning of this episode. The show opens with fantastic visuals of space dock and the exterior of the Enterprise. The ship is undergoing an inspection. And Pike his opening log says that there's some tension with the brass that he doesn't have time to sort out. And of course, he's talking about Admiral April, and that's who's having some struggles. But if you take a look at these visuals, they were actually really stunning. They did a great job. It's not often that you get a really good look at the inner workings of space dock, and they do a really good job of showing how all the ships would be lined up at space dock. Right, including with like couplings, and you've got the gangway planks where they can get off and everything. It's actually really super well done. That's my first upvote. The special effects team really did themselves out here.
Same for me. Really good effects. All right, here we are meeting with Admiral April.
Well, he's showing that, and now the first thing we have here is actually Una contacting Captain Pike from lockup. And basically, she's ready to give up. She what she did was wrong, but Pike won't let her. Doesn't want her to resign, and he's insisting that they'll find a way to win.
Because they always find a way to win.
He also lets her know that they're going to be he's going to be leaving on a 2.5-day shuttle trip to speak with an Illyrian representative that can help Una. Una doesn't seem to think that it'll do any good, but Pike is going to do it anyways. And he's going to leave Spock in command while he's gone. But Spock has some concerns about that.
He's never been in command before, Captain.
This is it. He's nervous. He says, "Don't worry, Spock. We're in space, Spock."
And that's my first downvote.
Okay.
I don't know why Spock seems so unsure of himself so far, and I'm just waiting for a confident Spock to peek his little brain, his little eyes out, and be confident Spock that I'm already aware of.
Yeah, it might be a while, but we do learn in this scene here that Spock, because of because he needed to get like angry and show his emotions to defeat the Gorn last season, he's been unable to kind of get his emotions back under control.
Right.
Typically, Vulcans suppress their emotions. They have emotions that are stronger than human beings. But Spock's concerned that his emotions may impact his judgment while he's in charge of the Enterprise, which is the reason why I guess he was nervous.
It looks like Mbenga is giving him a Vulcan harp.
The Vulcan lute, yep, to help with his stress. It appears as if Spock has never played it before. We know Spock is proficient in the lute because he played it frequently during TOS episodes like Charlie X, The Conscience of the King, Amok Time, The Way to Eden, and of course Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. He used it to solve alien symbols on an obelisk on the planet Emerald during the Paradise Syndrome, it was like without the lute, they basically wouldn't have saved Kirk, which is pretty interesting. It seems odd that Spock wouldn't already be familiar with the Vulcan lute growing up on Vulcan, and that Mbenga has basically presented it to him for the first time.
Interesting. So this is saying that Mbenga is the reason why Kirk's alive.
Right. And it's also Mbenga's the reason why Spock plays the lute. And I find that false. I just don't think that. I mean, I understand they wanted to have this, they wanted to have this connection between the characters, but I'm going to downvote this because I don't like the fact that it feels like in a lot of ways, going back to last season and this season, it seems like Spock is just not his own person. It requires someone else to build Spock up. It's like the crew is creating this version of Spock that we will eventually know through all of his interactions. And you're right. Confident Spock is missing, and I hope he gets returned soon.
Yeah. If I were him, I would just take his shirt off. It'll solve all the problems.
Well, at least for the people who only want some eye candy, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of eye candy, so Nurse Chapel comes in as Spock, and you notice that Spock kind of gets nervous and just bails. We find out it's kind of funny here because Mbenga says fascinating, to which Chapel says, isn't that his line, referring to Spock, which of course we know is Spock's most famous line of all time.
Fascinating.
We also learn before you go forward here that Nurse Chapel is considering applying to a fellowship for archaeological medicine on Vulcan for 2 months.
All right. Sounds like she's trying to escape.
Yeah, maybe. But she's only got 2 months.
So this is Ortega on the bridge criticizing this portly fellow.
The portly fellow. The least Wardrobe could have done is like fitted him properly for his uniform.
I know. Okay.
It's obvious that it's, poor guy. And listen, we're no one to talk. Of course, if we were on set, we'd look probably similar to that.
No, yeah. But there's the reason why we're not actors. But yeah, this actually bothered me a little bit. This was like the start of it just seems like this episode in particular just really doesn't respect a particular gender in the 23rd century. It's very odd.
It's weird. Sometimes it feels like they go there. I mean, the whole idea of this inspection to me is pointless. Like, it's one thing to have people come in and do refits, but what's the point of the inspection? So the crew seems very protective of their stations. Uhura gets into an argument with one of the inspectors. It just felt really unnecessary. Whenever the Enterprises are in space dock, they're usually being refit. Things are being tested. It's not antagonistic, and so I'm just kind of wondering what they were going for. To me, it seemed like it served no other purpose than to show that Uhura is a boss. That's the only other way I could think of it.
Yeah. Also, she wanted to keep the communications. She wanted to make a secondary communications channel just in case someone called in.
Yeah.
And they said, who's going to call you? You're in space dock. But of course, she does get a call.
Right.
Further showing how much of a boss she is, that she pre-anticipated this random 1 in 1 billion occurrence. So good for her.
So I don't really look at it as a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of a nonsense thing. So I'm not going to upvote or downvote it.
Yeah, I'm not giving it a score. It definitely felt this whole thing with them having issues with the inspectors feels like, I don't know, like why. I just don't know. It
was
why.
Irrelevant. Yeah, there's no point. Absolutely no point.
And look at the way she rolls her eyes at him like that, like, ugh, I have to deal with this idiot. It's like, I don't know. Why are you acting that way?
I don't know. The guy's just doing his job.
Yeah.
They're just there doing. They got orders too.
Right. Watch her reaction when she turns around. Ready? Ugh. Oh God. Ugh. I can't play that much without getting the copyright claim. Here we go. Ugh.
Wait, one more.
God.
Oh, there's the eye roll. I've gotten that eye roll before. Oof.
Yeah, I love the reaction to. I'm forgetting her name, but she's like, "Oh, here goes her again."
Yeah, this is Livian. Chang Ma is her acting name, her actually real name. She seems to be a new character on the bridge, but at least in the first 6 episodes, this is the only time I remember seeing her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Spock is playing his lute.
Spock is playing his lute, and he gets a visit from Uhura, who we learned that he got a distress call from La'an, Noonien Singh,
who is off the ship. I didn't know that. Was she off the ship at the end of last season?
Yes, she left at the end of last season. She actually turned in her Starfleet commission to escort the young girl who was captured by the Gorn home to find her parents.
I see.
And that's what she's off doing.
Yeah, so the message is that the Federation, like there's a problem where I'm at, and that the Federation might be in trouble or something like that.
Yeah, so the distress, Admiral April denies Spock's request to use the Enterprise to respond. Her message is dangerous situation on Cajitar 4, resources of Enterprise critical, anti-Federation threat. And of course, Cajitar 4 is a dilithium mining planet on the edge of Klingon space. Every 30 days, the Klingon and Federation take turns overseeing the planet. The current 30 days is under control of the Klingons. And Admiral April says the Klingons showing up could cause a war.
No, the Enterprise showing up, yeah.
Yeah, the Enterprise show. What did I say?
The Klingons. Yeah, because the Klingons are so protective that if the Starfleet shows up in the middle of their 30 days, they can get pissed off. And we all know Klingons are very aggressive, and they don't understand nuance, that kind of thing.
Well, they are aggressive, and they do. I mean, no, that's actually very believable. Us showing up in the middle, because our tensions were recently. Remember, the war just recently ended.
Yeah, I wasn't criticizing it. I'm just saying.
No,
Klingons, they wild out. That's what it is. They get nuts.
All right. I thought your comment was about them being dumb, but
no, that's coming.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So Spock.
That's how you know we pre-talked about this episode.
Yeah. So Spock's like, well, screw that. He gets all of his bridge crew into the ready room and announces that he is going to steal the Enterprise, and he needs their help to do it.
Hello, friends. I'm going to either make you all heroes or end your careers today. How do you feel about that?
Well, he gave him the option to leave now and turn him in, actually, which is a very Spock thing to do. But it does have a sense of like we're all gonna make this decision together to do this, which is kind of odd. Although Spock did say he's going to do it, but you do get this tense. I mean, look at Uhura, the way she's protectively crossing her arms there. Oh, actually, all the women in the room are crossing their arms in a defensive posture. It's they're on board. They're all going to go and do it. It was a little weird. I felt like any other first officer would have called their captain first.
Right. Okay. So Captain Pike is off trying to save Una, and the very first thing, Spock gets a call from an old shipmate that says they're in trouble and he wants to go rescue her. April says no. He doesn't even attempt to contact Pike. And here's a downvote, because Pike did mention that he is in a one of the newer shuttles that's capable of more speed. He can definitely contact Pike here.
Oh, 100%. No, it's a downvote for me too. 100% should have called Pike. Pike is obviously in communications range, and they should have actually made it so that he couldn't contact Pike. It would have made more sense if there was a scene where he was contemplating not being able to reach him and having to make this decision himself.
Yes, they should have taken about 3 seconds to show him attempting to contact Pike and being unsuccessful, and
out of range or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And then having to make that call on his own. That would have been, right. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that.
I guess they just didn't think it through.
Surprise. All right. So they're stealing the Enterprise. Bottom line is, they're stealing the Enterprise. They're going to steal it, and they're going to go off and rescue or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to go see Now, before, can you go back real quick into I wanted to talk about this. At least one time during this whole season, I want to talk about the credit scene or the intro. Star Trek's famous for having each show has its own unique credits,
opening
titles. Strange New Worlds is one of the good ones, I think. Yes. I love hearing Pike. We get our first introduction, with Pike reading the Star Trek mission statement. The music is high energy and strange. I mean, it feels like Star Trek. You have good visuals, and you get motivated to watch the episode. So I'm going to give them an upvote one time for the season for creating a really good title sequence.
Okay. Now they're stealing the Enterprise, so they come up with this almost Ocean's 11 like heist, where
sort of, but it's like one thing.
Yeah, and like they're playing it out like it's some like big deal, and the helmsman here, I'm forgetting her name again.
It is Livian.
Livian has to like, apprehensively walk down to the engines room and like act like she's doing a diagnostic, and then she plugs something in. And of course, the engineer over here that's there as an inspection from the starbase instantly sees her. She's not getting away with anything.
Dude, do you know what that inspector guy in that first scene when they're on the bridge, the kind of the overweight guy? Do you know what his name is? His name is Burly Inspector.
Is it really?
Named him Burly Inspector. What's up with that? Who gets? Can you imagine if you had like a really thin person? And they're like, Lithe Inspector. I mean, like
Slender Inspector.
That's kind of messed up.
No, he gets the burly. That poor bastard. Yeah, so they have this whole sequence where she's like looking around. She's like, I'm going to be successful. And she thinks she's successful, but then the camera shows.
She's pretty happy with herself.
Yeah, she's happy with it, though. She pulled it off. But the camera shows that the new engineer, Kane, instantly sees her. It took no time whatsoever. Their whole plan was fumbled immediately.
Yeah. We get our first introduction to Commander Pelian. She's played by comic legend Carol Kane. It's wonderful seeing her on the screen. But if you've ever listened to Carol do an interview, she's already difficult to understand. Like when she's just regularly speaking, it's kind of hard to understand her. The way she has kind of a speech impediment or something. So Commander Pelian, she has the traditional Carol Kane cadence with a twist of like some German, Russian, Brooklyn accent. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like German, Russian, Brooklyn. And the bottom line is that she's on to what Spock is doing, and she decides she's going to call him on the false alarm.
Yeah, there's one thing about these screeners that we get. There's no damn subtitles.
Right.
And listening to Carol Kane, even though she's wonderful, in fact, I'm giving her an upvote. She's great. But listening to her speak without subtitles is so
tough.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, you got to listen to it a couple of times. But she does bring good energy, and this is a good scene. It's she comes in but once again, it's the I don't want to upvote it because once again, it's showing the incompetence of Spock.
Right, I'm upvoting her, but I did dislike the idea that she's like, well, Sonny, if you want to steal the ship, you got to vent the idea. All right, come on.
It's just incredible incompetence in every way you turn, left, right, middle. And Spock is constantly...
And his look is like...
He looks like a child who's been corrected.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, you're right. I wish Rob wouldn't have pointed this out to us. Now that's all I can see.
I guess I'm going to downvote it. Actually, now I'm going to downvote it. So
jeez.
It went from... I might upvote it too.
How the tables turn tables.
How the turntables turn.
Yeah. So she basically says you got to vent your plasma or something so that because she knows what she's doing, and Starbase is like, excuse me, Enterprise, please move away from the Starbase just in case there's a problem, and they undo the clamps. They literally just let them leave. Like, just no questions asked.
Well, and I get it. They wanted to show her. It's a tough situation to be in because they want to show her competence as an engineer. So they do need to show us that she has some sort of engineering competence. The question is how do you do that without making other people look stupid? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of Star Trek writers nowadays have a problem doing. The only way they can really make one person look good is by making somebody else look bad.
Right.
How cool would it be as if she was able to show her competence while everyone else still being competent?
Yeah, I don't understand why you have to own someone to look good.
Yeah, that's a problem we have in society as well right now.
And of course, Starbase buys it, and they undo the docking clamps, and Enterprise, move away from a respectful distance, please, and and they just go, okay, we're gonna take off now.
Yep.
So Spock, now acting captain, takes seat in the chair, and they ask him, are you going to do the thing?
Oh, just before that, real quick, the last thing on Carol Kane here. We learned that she's been teaching at Starfleet Academy for a long time, and she's ready to get out among the stars again. Essentially, she tells him she wants to join and step in as the chief engineer. And Uhura recognizes her accent, and we find out she's actually a Lanthanite. That's her species. And she's very, very old, although we won't find out exactly how old until we get to the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's a new species, too. She also says, I haven't been in the engine room of a starship in 1,000 years, or something like that. And they're like, what?
100 years. 100 years.
100 years, right, 100 years. Yeah. So, yeah, it's new species. I couldn't find anything about them. Nothing.
No, it's totally new.
So, we got that.
More to learn.
Yeah. Now
so we'll go with your thing.
Yeah, so they want Spock to do his thing because they're like, set a course for this planet, and then usually, let's say Pike is like, hit it. Picard's like, engage. Janeway was like, more coffee. I don't remember, but basically they want him to do his thing, and they have this whole argument about, or this whole like conversation about how everyone has their thing and Spock doesn't have a thing.
The thing was created by Michael Burnham in Discovery. So that's where the thing came from.
Was it really?
Yeah. It became a recognizable, like there was always the make it so, right? And really it was Picard who had the only thing. It was make it so or engage. Those were his two things. Right. So all of a sudden they made it a thing when Burnham became captain, she had to have a thing.
Yeah, what did Janeway say, though? Janeway said something.
There was nothing. It was different every time. She didn't have anything specific.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the thing here with Spock, and this is what's interesting about this is yet one more thing that frustrates me. Not only does what he say is dumb. Spock says, "I would like the ship to go now." Here's the thing. Would Ortegas know there's a thing and Spock fucking wouldn't know there's a thing? Like, come on. Spock's been on that bridge with Pike for how long? How many times has he heard him say hit it? Is Spock an idiot? Like, does Spock not know what Pike says when he sends the ship out? Ortegas has to tell him and explain to him what a thing is, and they go back and forth. Do you have a thing? That's what Spock says.
So you have a thing.
Ortegas is like, well, I've been working on a thing. It's Vamonos or whatever.
Vamonos.
Right? Right. Yeah. And it's just, once again, someone else is teaching Spock something that he should already know. And like Robert Meyer Burnett said, which I thought was wonderful. So downvote this for me. Which I thought was great, is he said, Spock would 100% know about the thing, right? And he would have the coolest thing because Spock is the coolest. It's true that Leonard Nimoy in TOS was frequently given, the eye roll or the laugh, but they were laughing at his composure. Here, they're laughing at Spock's lack of knowledge and basic things that everyone else knows that he doesn't know. It's like a different sort of incompetency.
Right. And I disagree with Rob. I don't think he would have the coolest thing. I think when they said, "Are you gonna do the thing?" he would say, "I don't have a thing, Commander. Go." Or something. It would be more like he doesn't want to involve. He is not going to involve himself in this silly human tradition.
No, I'd be okay with him saying, "Having a thing is illogical."
Just
let's go. Yeah, or let's go,
right.
or go. I could see that being a thing, but still, that
having a thing is illogical. Get to it.
Yeah. full speed ahead, whatever. So the point is that they tried to turn it into, when you look at Spock, even his face right here, he looks like a kid with his hand in the candy, like a small child who needs to be molded into this eventual Vulcan. And it just drives me crazy because that's not what Spock is. Spock is third in command of the ship.
Right.
Like, the dude knows what he's doing. He's not, there's later episodes where this happens even more frequently. So
yeah,
it's just getting its start here.
He's one of the special kids.
It sure seems like it sometimes.
Watch, here's this thing, everyone.
I would like the ship to go.
I would like the ship to go.
No.
Now.
And look at how intense he is. It's like what's the best way to explain it? It's like he took his orders from Ortegas and now he's doing his best to carry it out. Now, is everyone impressed and proud of me? That's kind of what it looks like. Is everyone proud of what I just did? It's just not Spock. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when people laughed at the original Spock, they were laughing at, you're right, his composure, his Vulcan antics, but not his abilities.
Right. And Uhura kind of laughs. You get the side shot of Uhura laughing, because he said something ridiculous.
Right.
On Cajitar 4, we get our first look at Strange New Worlds Klingons coming up here. There's your establishing shot.
Oh, we got an establishing shot. This is very good. Remember this before next week's review, because next week's review is going to be a litany of downvotes because of the lack of establishing shots.
Well, I got to tell you that go back one. That gives credence. That gives a special consideration to Stonehenge that those things are actually standing back there. It's kind of alien. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna upvote this. This is good.
Yeah, this is a good. I like this. Give me an upvote too. Let me tell you, VFX team is killing it right now.
Yeah,
absolutely killing it.
Yeah, the whole planet looks strange. Looks unique. It's a lot of science fiction chooses like one of like three places. Either it's the desert, and they film in the Mojave Desert, or it's Canada, because they're filming in the forest somewhere.
Right.
It's always one of those, or it's some like, icy place or something.
This is 100% not on Earth and obvious.
Right, but a lot of science fictions they pick from like three settings, and all those three settings, I feel like I can find them somewhere in California.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
So we get our first look at Klingons in Strange New Worlds, and we see that Klingons pretty much look the way Klingons should.
Upvote for me, Bo.
Good job making the Klingon correction. I'll give them the upvote as well. Good makeup. Let me do a downvote coming. As we see that La'an is having a drinking contest with one of them.
Yep.
I'm going to downvote the burp you're about to play.
She burps?
Go ahead. I'm going to downvote it.
I don't know if I can play it.
I think she's going to drink first, and then she's going to burp.
There we go. See, I can only play so much that I can...
It's okay. Pause
it. Do it. We'll get to it.
This is the most disgusting burp I've ever had.
Yeah, it takes so long to get to it. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Do that again.
I'm not gonna. I can't just do it again on a whim. Like I have to wait 10 seconds. The whole thing.
It almost it sounds like actual pieces of food or something deep in their stomach are going to projectile forward in this burp.
Yeah, it's gross.
And you think of her. Yes, she's a pretty girl sometimes, just not right now at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's competing with the Klingons, so she's got to be like sort of warlike and primitive and.
See, I think that she's more graceful than that. Like, I think she could compete with them, be as tough, right? But yet with a little bit of grace. I don't know what's up with the.
What? What's up with what?
Anyways, I don't know what's up with the disgust. I'm not sure why that needs to happen, but
yeah, I don't care about the burp. I do. But this episode, while I love the way the Klingons look, I do not like the way they act. They're sort of the butt of the joke. They're not. They're just not a formidable foe or ally. They're just sort of a dumb race that can be tricked easily and coerced easily, and I don't like it.
Well, I went through it again, and I didn't see any incidents where they could be really tricked. But now, in this situation where she defeats him, yes. But, when we see the next scenes coming up, they were just outmatched physically. It really had nothing to do with intelligence.
No, she also tricks them by pulling a battery out and acting like it's a grenade.
Well, I mean, it was, who knows what kind of tech they have. I mean, that would be okay.
I mean, they all run away. You think Worf would have ran away from that?
They made a deal. They didn't run away.
We'll see.
Yeah, when you watch it again, it actually plays different than what you think.
Okay.
Because at first he's going to kill her and take it. So you have La'an here is we find out that there's an interesting thing here that we haven't gotten closure on or in more information on is that when M'Benga and La'an greet each other, they do so with this wiping of the signal under the eye. Have you noticed that?
Right. Yeah.
Now that was also in season 1, but there still hasn't been an explanation as to what that is. Or how it's connected to the past.
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
So
they're doing that with okay.
Huh?
That's from now on. This is how we treat each other.
I don't ever do that again. It's way too sexual. I don't. The energy is strange to me. I'm downvoting you, and you're not even part of the show. There's some way. That's what I want to see M'Benga do. Choke on his own.
Leon's like, that's not the right signal.
All right. So we learned that Uhura is now officially an ensign and no longer a cadet, which I think this is the first time we realize La'an realizes she's an ensign.
She shouldn't have been a cadet in the first place. Stupid.
Well, at least she shouldn't have been a cadet with so much power. That's for sure.
Right. She shouldn't have been a bridge crew as a cadet. She shouldn't have been in charge of the communications array as the cadet. That made no sense.
It appears that some ex-Klingon and ex-Federation patriots are trying to start the war up again because it's better for the dilithium business that they're in. Mm-hmm. So we learned that. It's kind of a long exchange, things back and forth. M'Benga and Chapel are going to help some of the sick here in a moment.
It's funny. Someone said, has Chapel brushed her hair yet? And now that they said that, that's all I can see is the fact that her hair.
What is it not brushed? Oh, is that frequently with her?
Yeah.
Is her hair usually messed up?
Her hair is.
She got bad hair.
That is.
Yeah, it's always bedhead. Yeah. Look at that. It doesn't bother me.
It's funny. Whatsoever. She kind of looks like a little boy to me sometimes. It's hard to, she's got this kind of like, I don't know, young boy girl.
I think she's
look.
very attractive.
She has here's the thing. She has moments where she's very attractive, and then she has moments where you're like, you're not sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it.
You get both moments.
It's the bedhead.
So, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. And so, yeah, La'an is trying to make undercover deals with Klingons dealing in Federation weapons.
Right.
Is what she's doing. So they break off to go their own ways. And not a lot happened here, so I don't really have good notes for like...
Yeah, M'Benga and Chapel, now they're off to do their side quest. That's what I call it now. Mm-hmm. And their side quest is to help some sick people.
But instead they get captured.
And they immediately run into little Gorn girl.
Gorn girl, yeah.
Yeah, girl that was captured from the Gorn. And
they help her mother.
Well, no, and here's the first thing. I don't understand why, and you can have all the representation you want in shows, but I just noticed something. I have not seen a regular family in seasons 1 or seasons 2 of this show, but the first family we see, of course, is LGBT family, and it's fine. It's not a big deal, but I didn't
even notice it.
If we're going to see representation, let's have all families. I have yet to see in New Trek an actual
nuclear family. So, is the person on the right her partner or something?
Yeah, it's her 2 moms.
Oh, Did they say that? I missed
Yes.
it totally.
Yeah, she says my mom's.
Oh.
Okay. And the thing is, like, look, you can have that, but like we need to show all sides of it at some point. And I haven't seen it in Discovery. I haven't seen it aside from Michael's own family. And now in Strange New Worlds, I haven't seen it. I don't know. When are we going to see a nuclear family in these shows? Like, it represent all types of people. IDIC, guys. Let's go.
All right. Well said.
And of course,
you have medical equipment.
The Klingons instantly are like, "Oh, you're taking care of people. I will kidnap you now."
Well, they had to have a way for them to get inside so that they could save the day. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There was a needed plot device here. Let's get
Do not allow a good plot device to go unwasted.
Right. All right. So the Klingons kidnap them. Klingons kidnap. Jesus. The Klingons kidnap them. And moving on.
Yeah, so it looks like M'Benga and Chapel are taken to a huge hidden operation of dilithium mining that they are forced to treat the people working there.
That's very convenient.
Which is interesting.
Listen, doctors, we need to take you to our giant hidden evil base.
Right.
And give you unfettered access.
During that last scene, M'Benga seems to be having a bit of PTSD war moment. I had to watch it twice to kind of figure it out. There's a lot of things about these characters, a lot of their past that they give little pieces of information, but don't really make any sense. He was apparently involved in some war that had to do with the Klingons, and he kind of has this moment that's really kind of weird. You know, like she's like, "Are you going to be okay?" You know, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Very fine. Stoic. Definitely a PTSD moment.
I'm fine.
But what he and Chapel learn is that these people are going to set up a fake Federation attack on the Klingons to restart the war.
Well, they don't find that out yet, right?
No, he figured that out right then.
Really? Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So we get to learn about it twice.
Then why does he torture that? Yeah, he tortures the Klingon guy.
What's that? Well, he needed to know where it was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, so they're off to, heal the sick or whatever. And here we go. La'an is doing her secret weapons transaction.
Yes.
And I guess they're trying to get over on her, and this is when she pulls out the fake.
No, they weren't actually. So she was supposed to, well, sort of. I mean, she was supposed to bring 24 weapons. She brought half of that, and now he tried to screw over by saying, "We're only going to give you a third of the price." And she said, "Well, my price doubled, so I basically want all the money plus double." So
she was taking advantage of them.
Yeah. Well, he at first was taking advantage of the fact that instead of giving her half, he was only going to give her a third.
I mean, well, she did renege. She didn't bring all the stuff, so she's got to be punished for it. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. That's my bad. I didn't bring all this stuff. I'll take what you got." No. So she's the bad guy here.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this Klingon, she's like, she's going to blow up his lower half. And she made specifics that she was going to blow up his lower half with this device.
So this is what I'm talking about. The Klingons are really painted as fools this episode.
Well, are they fools or, because he did say, I'm just going to take it from you. Now she pulls out what looks like to be an explosive device. I mean, look, what are you going to do? I mean, the Klingon, they're brave, but they don't necessarily want to die every day. You know what I mean?
Today is a good day to die, Shane.
Yeah, but they're also there to make a ton of money, which is the whole point of this whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like he was cowardly in any way.
Well, I'm not down with this.
All right.
I don't like it. I don't like it because I feel like the Klingons, and there's going to be more examples where I feel like the Klingons are looked down on. They're treated like sort of jokes.
I have not seen one, and I'm gonna be really honest with you here, and I don't want to diminish your take on it, but I did not see one instance in this entire episode where that was the case.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it several times.
Okay, well, so this time right here.
So you're gonna have to give me an actual moment where that occurs.
Leon completely takes advantage of them, and then when they try to get their power back and say, "Well, just take them if you don't want to take the deal," she then scares him into leaving with a fake light show.
Well, she didn't scare him into leaving. They agreed to pay her and take the weapons, but then told her, "Next time you show up with all the weapons." He wasn't weak in it at all.
I mean, yeah, she scared him with a cell phone light because they don't know what it looks like.
Well, in all fairness, neither did her crew.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So,
still,
all right. You didn't like it. I get it.
No, I want the Klingons to be a little more badass. That's it. I don't understand.
Well, it's going to be impossible for them this episode because of what happens next.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually stopped back here. I realized, did they replace Chief Kyle?
They replaced Chief Kyle.
Oh, who is this person?
So yeah, let's get there. Why is Uhura on that planet?
Well, she went along with everyone else. She doesn't have a purpose.
She has no purpose being there.
No, she doesn't do anything to forward the story.
All right. Okay.
She's eye candy for the trip.
Just a thought. And now, so Chief Kyle, I don't know what happened to Chief Kyle, but why is it that all the transporters, Chief, look like 13-year-old boys?
Well, I think this is a transgender male.
Oh, I see.
I do believe, I guess you would say, I mean, by watching it multiple times, it comes across to me as a person who perhaps was once female.
I don't know about that, but I there's a weird thing going on with all the transporter chiefs in Strange New Worlds. They're all tiny, little teenagers. I
mean, I think they're transgenders.
All of them?
I just get the impression that that's what they're going for that job.
We've
had two people that are very similar.
Three. There was three.
Yeah. And so this person, I mean, they get some speaking lines. I mean, listen, acting's fine. The job, what threw me off was, and this is just part of the nature of our existence, is when you see kind of a, when you can't tell if someone is a boy or a girl, when you look at them, it tends to make you go, is it a boy or a girl? It's like the old Saturday Night Live skits with Pat, where you could never tell whether Pat was a guy or a girl.
For me, it was more like, why do they all look like teenage CW actors? That's my first thought. Was not their gender. That's funny.
Yeah, well, my first thought was I was just trying to identify the person by what am I looking at here? Is this a guy, a girl? Is it a kid? Is it an alien?
I started thinking canonically, maybe they have to be small to fit into certain spaces.
No, you remember Scotty. No.
No. This is what I was getting. My brain, I was like, well, maybe to repair the ship, the transporters, it's better if they're tiny, or then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Scotty was bigger than me.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It honestly does not impact the story whatsoever. It was just a little bit of a.
What about Chief O'Brien? Also a big fella.
Right. And this is not the chief engineer. It's the transporter. This is it's a new job. This is not something that has typically been a traditional Starfleet, Star Trek job on the shows. They might have somebody working the transporter, but they didn't really talk frequently in any of the shows, any of the episodes. They were just there doing their job, and then one of the main characters would come in and something would happen. So that they have changed things up a little bit here with these characters.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. My guess is, let me tell you what I think it is. And I'm just going to keep it real honest here. I think the reason why we have these characters is just an opportunity to include more, to be more inclusive and include, members of the LGBTQ community. Honestly, there's no point in this character speaking. There's no point in this character being here.
No.
I've been tracking.
I mean, what is this person doing? They talk about transporting something.
They just absolutely adds techno babble, and then we move on.
It absolutely adds nothing to the scene.
I've been trying to transport it, but the Section 83 needs to be compressed. Damn it! And you're like, okay, Chief. Whatever you say.
It was, it was added for inclusion. I mean, that's it. That's all I can see is they're trying to find little moments to add characters.
I just want to know if you can transport it. I don't want to hear your fucking backstory, dude. Okay, whatever. Yeah, but then I gotta move the partition. I don't give a shit. Okay.
I'm trying. Well, the reason I'm laughing is because I'm thinking of Spock doing that because he's the one talking to him.
Right.
So that's what's making it funny. But yeah, so I mean, look, it didn't add anything. It didn't take anything away. It did make me stop and wonder, who the heck is this person? But that's about it.
Cool. All right, they've been brought into the super secret bay. I didn't realize this after watching it for the third time. I'm like, they're just being ushered delicately into their
secret base. Come in and help us.
Really convenient.
Well, they did have injured people. I get it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And they can see the giant saucer section of a ship, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're brought in to help. No, this is actually where he has his PTSD moment.
This sort of, it's funny. This looks like the same set of last season with the Gorn.
Kind of does. I bet I wouldn't surprise me. It was probably reused.
All right, now he's talking to the Klingon that was hurt, and the Klingon, and he shows that he is proficient with Klingon biology.
Yeah.
And the Klingon asks him how he knew that and all that.
That looks like Daryl from The Office.
hey!
look at him.
Hey,
seriously.
Mabanga.
Seriously, look at him.
How do you know about Klingons, bro?
He looks like him, doesn't he? I feel like he's going to break out in like some keyboard tune in a second.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Peralta, get a look at this guy. Yeah, so this is when he's having PTSD because he was in the Klingon War.
Yes. I was on the moon.
I hate the Klingon War, like, so much. Like, I hate it so much. I hate that it's a holdover of the Discovery thing. And that we didn't really know about it until, recently. I just don't like it.
I mean, there was a Klingon War in TOS. I mean, but yeah. Discovery didn't need to go there.
No, I don't understand. So Discovery made Michael Burnham the cause of the Klingon War.
Of the Klingon War, right?
Like, oh my God. Like, it was.
And not just, and her, it was because of her going against her captain, like basically mutinying her captain to cause the war, like even doubly.
Right. Yeah. It's even worse. But then additionally, we're not even sure exactly what Klingons they were fighting, because all the Klingons we saw in Discovery were clearly not the same Klingons we're seeing here.
100% true.
So it's almost like, what if the Starfleet had an entire Klingon war with another race that just called themselves Klingons, and these guys are like, hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, so he's doing a thing.
So M'Benga and Chapel must stop these people by getting to the bridge of the secret Federation ship. M'Benga pulls out a green liquid and tells Chapel they can get there with this. Then Chapel says, "Are you sure you want to do this again?"
Again?
Yeah, so I'm confused. I looked up everywhere. I don't recall anything from season 1 where they did this before. Maybe it's something a holdover from the Klingon War that allowed him to fight Klingons. So I don't know.
He just has this stuff in his pocket.
You never know when
wait. So this makes me think that this dude is just a drug addict.
I've got like a whole new level of respect for M'Benga. Like he's like John Wicking on me. He's like,
he's like, we can get to the bridge. But we gotta take this. She's like, where did you get that? He goes, don't worry about it. Wait a minute, do you just have that in your pocket? Don't worry about it. Let's just take this.
We're gonna need it.
We're gonna need it. Wait, you just carry that shit around with you? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but whatever it does, it actually changes them. And I do have an upvote coming.
It's like a hardcore amphetamine. It's like cocaine mixed with it's like cocaine mixed with Panera Bread Chargers.
Well, and like diamond skin or something, because it actually does like they don't get beat up. They don't take damage.
Makes them like really strong and like they can't feel pain.
Well, not just feel it, but like I don't think they actually experience it, because you don't hear like bones breaking. You don't, like they don't actually get damaged until it wears off.
So my question is, why aren't we always taking this stuff? And that's another thought. What if M'Benga is always taking this stuff, and that's what he has in his pockets?
I don't know, but I did like. I mean, okay, so my upvote is they do a really good job doing the transformation. Like when they take this stuff, they do a really cool job of like doing a bunch of series of shots like this, where their eyes change, where their perception, and we understand that they are definitely having something has happened to them,
right?
And I think it's really good the way they did this.
Yeah, it's funny is when his pupils dilated, which usually means that you are on a lot of drugs.
Well, he is. It's green.
So when like a cop is is shining his light in your face, he's doing that because he wants to see if you're high, right?
Yeah, right.
Because your pupils will be super big if you're just like free floating down the highway.
Right.
The thing is that also an dilated pupil also allows a lot more light to come in. So right now he'd be really light sensitive. I was thinking about all like the subtle nods to what an addict looks like right here. His bloodshot eyes, dilated pupils, he's sweating. I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen this.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because they take. I mean, I got to tell you, M'Benga to me looks like he just enjoyed the crap out of this. Like he's just giving all into his PTSD. These shots are great. I think they did a really good job with this. And then
when they dropped the vial, what you guys didn't see when they dropped the vial was M'Benga go, "Why are you dropping it?" and jump to the ground and starts lifting it up.
No, he's high. He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And then they just start whooping Klingon butt. I mean, essentially, which I got to tell you, whatever this stuff is, I believed it by the way they sold me on the cutscenes, on the transformation that they went through, and the rest of this I buy. Upvote me again.
Yeah.
Upvote the fighting here. Because,
whatever it is that they took, I want some of that, please.
Right, and it just took them to like skill level 10. Felt like I was watching a video game.
Yeah. And this is an example. I understand that there's a reason for this, that they're on drugs. But another example of like they literally just like beat up the Klingons. Like very little work.
There's a good reason. It's obvious they sold it. I believe that's why I gave it an upvote.
Sure. I mean, 100%. There's a reason for it, but this is the second, by the way, the third actually, moment so far in the series where the Klingons have been beaten.
This doesn't count. This doesn't count because there's a good reason. They've given you a good, an obvious path for this, so it's acceptable.
You said the same thing about the fake grenade. That was an obvious path, so it was acceptable.
Right. So I disagree with you on both things. The Klingons aren't being treated poorly here. They're being outmatched by people who have the assets to do that. So it's different than writing the Klingons weak or creating the Klingons weak versus telling a story in which the Klingons are being beat.
Okay, so we start off Klingons where La'an beats the Klingon in a drinking match.
I would say that's the one maybe I would give you.
Let me just recap real quick.
Yeah.
And then we go to Leon taking advantage of them by not bringing all the weapons and fooling them with a fake light. And then we have M'Benga and Chapel taking some kind of drug and then beating the crap out of them. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Just remember all those points. Now there's a Klingon in there. M'Benga gets real angry.
He's drugged up, man.
He's hopped up on drugs. He's like, I'm going to
PCP,
kill you,
brother.
mother... PCP, bro.
Royale with cheese, mother... yeah.
And he's just like, he's tossing them around.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, where is it?
What he's really saying is, give me more of this green stuff. And we're going to learn later it's Vulcan blood. Watch.
She's like, I know where the bridge is. She goes, I'm not talking about the bridge. I want the green stuff. I can fucking get us to the bridge, M'Benga. Where's the Coke? And
he looks like a badass right there. He's not taking nothing.
Yeah. So the Klingon,
I gotta upvote M'Benga. I'm gonna upvote M'Benga. I like him.
The Klingon being thoroughly afraid of M'Benga and his
I'm afraid of him.
In his rage-filled snakes on a plane state. Happily gives up whatever information M'Benga wanted. Also, yet another number 4 point.
It doesn't count. If he's under
fine, whatever. You could say they don't count, but number 4.
You keep making these points, but
they 4 interactions so far with Klingons. 4 times the Klingons have either been beaten or coerced by Starfleet.
Well, I think that everything under the drug counts as the same thing. You can't take individual incidents.
I mean, he wasn't. He's just scared him to death. So
he didn't scare him. He beat the crap out of him, threw him across the room against the wall like a rag doll. What was the Klingon supposed to do? Klingons are not impossible to beat. You know, Worf has been hurt.
Yeah, Worf wouldn't have given
This guy didn't give up. He didn't run away.
No, he didn't. No, he gave him the data though. He gave him the information.
Okay, you're saying Klingons would never give the information up.
I'm just saying maybe there's Klingons that would. I'm just saying note that.
I think you're trying to associate all Klingons with Worf, and not all Klingons are Worf.
No, of course not. But we've had 4 interactions with 4 Klingons, and this is the 4th interaction out of 4 that they have been either beaten or coerced into by Starfleet. So,
by using better tactics.
Sure, whatever you want to call it. But this is what's happening. Facts are facts. So we're gonna move on. So he gives them the information, and they're gonna go to the bridge. Now, what they're gonna use like the transponder signal that normally they couldn't actually put a signal into. They're gonna somehow code a way into it so that the Enterprise can see what's going on.
Right.
Oh, more Klingons.
Now I think it's here. Did they get to the? They haven't got to the device yet, right?
No. Up. Come on, up. No, get him, Chapel. Beat up that Klingon. You 93-pound woman, you.
Right.
Hopped up on amphetamines. I've always had a problem with that too. Like when Black Widow is like beating the crap out of like a room full of 300-pound wrestlers, thugs.
Right,
it's like, at what point does the weight class overcome the skill level?
Wait, that's true. But, you know, Jet Li was the same way. You know, there's a lot of martial artists who are men that are small that just could take down a room. So
okay, I'll get
skill over size.
Right. All right.
Until you get you in a bear hug, then you're screwed.
Right. Yeah. If they get you, I don't care what kind of tactics you have.
Don't matter.
All right. So they get the transponder. They're launching into space. Uh-oh.
So before that happens, it's wearing down. So it was actually wearing down. I thought this was very interesting. So the stuff's starting to wear off. And as you can see, they're getting hurt now, right? And Chapel actually can't finish off her Klingons. And M'Benga, like a boss, just comes in and like takes them all down and like saves her. You notice that?
Yeah. M'Benga's I'm gonna give M'Benga.
That's what I'm saying. He just deserved it, man. He was a
badass.
I
want everyone here to remember that we've now had 5 encounters with Klingons.
You just added another one.
Well, because this was another. It was after they coerced that Klingon to give them the information. They get gone upon by another set of Klingons. So
then another set of Klingons gets you another point.
Sure,
it's all the same fight.
Look, 5 times, 5 different sets of Klingons, and they've all been beaten up, or coerced, or beaten, or whatever. Right? Okay, moving on.
Keep it up.
The fake Starfleet ship is now.
Oh, you said 5. You better have a point at the end of this.
I will have a point.
Okay.
I will have a point.
You better.
I will.
Or you're getting a downvote.
I will. Fine. I don't care. All right. They're launching into space. Remember, in orbit right now, there is also a Klingon bird of prey or battle cruiser or whatever is orbiting. So, you know, this fake starship is about to come out of the mining planet and do some damage to the Klingon battle cruiser, which will then probably start another war.
That's right. That's their goal.
All right. But Spock is on the bridge. The chief transport got him into the chair. Don't worry.
Ortegas, do you think we should go after these people?
What do you think we should do, Ortegas? I'm thinking top us. Oh, you mean about this? All right. Of course, Leon's.
This is where La'an witnesses the taking off of the fake Starfleet vessel.
Yep. Ship. All right. Takes off. Like, no, we gotta get the ship. It's gonna try to hurt the battle cruiser. Oh no, but our friends are on that ship. M'Benga and Chapel, they're on the ship. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. And so Spock is doing the Spock things. He says essentially that they made their choice. They understand it was more important. Their lives are not as important as starting another war. Very Spock-like thing to say. I thought that was very appropriately done. But you can tell he's still struggling with the idea of having to kill them by taking down the ship, and he takes as much time as possible before actually firing on the ship.
Yes. So now, additionally, on the fake ship, the Klingons are trying to bust through, and they're like in the room. They're like in the it was like a docking bay or some kind of airlock or something, right? And he's like, "Do you trust me?" And they have one EV suit or some form of an EV suit.
Kind of, yeah. I still was never sure as to what it was.
Yeah, she is really hot though. Whatever it is. So basically,
just so hot.
She's hot. So his plan is he's gonna look. We could survive in space for a few minutes, and
for 1 minute.
For 1 minute, and they're gonna lock into our transponder signal. It's that or we die anyway. Good points, all good points. Mabanga making some.
So wait, stop there. This was fucking so awkward. Like they're close, obviously, but the way this is done, I swear to God, I watched it twice and I thought she was just going to kiss him right here before this happened. It was the weirdest. I understand. Before you make a joke about the whole thing, it was strange to say the least. And listen, I respect that they have a relationship and all this stuff, but it had romantic vibes, even though I don't think there are any romantic vibes there. It was very strange to me.
Look, if you're about to die, let's go out with our pants off. That's all I'm saying.
You're saying is if you can't be with the one you love, be with the one you're with.
Just go out. Look, life advice for you. If you're about to kick the bucket, make sure your pants off when you do it.
Okay. Not the advice I would give you going out, but okay.
Saying, what else are you going to do?
I don't know. So you're saying if you're going to die, at least get a nut at the very end.
Right. Go out with like a flood of dopamine in your brain, like,
Don't have a thoughtful moment. That's terrible. So we got this scene here where Spock's eyes are watering.
Down boat.
He just killed.
He thinks he killed Chapel.
I think there would have been a good way to accomplish this, to make him feel sorrow, to show that he's having the sorrowful emotion without him needing to tear up.
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy Spock wouldn't have had to tear up. He could have looked at the screen and his gaze in a certain direction and his lack of response would have indicated his emotion.
His loss. Yeah, you would have seen his loss. This was, I think, a cheap way to show it. And in just un-Spock-like. I mean, even giving us the excuse that he's having a hard time controlling his emotions. It's just a reminder that he's not. That's not the way Spock would have done it.
Okay, and they're out the airlock. Here they are.
It was a good scene. Excellent job with the VFX people. I mean, listen, I got to tell you, the VFX people are carrying this episode with the upvotes. Give it an upvote, please.
Yeah, no upvote from me too.
Carrying it.
The VFX are sick. And of course, he's right, and they get that transponder. Incoming signal, Federation EV suit transponder.
Yep. They got him.
Feels like it's also been more than a minute too by that time.
Right. And then do you find it weird that Spock's the one resuscitating Chapel instead of somebody from medical?
Yeah, no, I did. I don't understand why Spock is involved in this.
Because they want us to have this emotional connection. Here's the thing: is like Nurse Chapel and Spock on TOS. Here's the thing: Chapel had a thing for Spock on TOS, right? You can tell, and but Spock didn't really return that. There was a thought that maybe he had feelings for Chapel, but they've turned Strange New Worlds into like the Chapel Spock love soap opera.
Oh yeah.
Like every episode is a will they, won't they. It's definitely taking over the show.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. Now they save Benga and Chapel, and now he's got to go deal with the stupid Klingons.
So this one's stupid too, huh?
Yeah, no, let me tell you how. So, I'm just going to call him Klingon in charge, the Klingon in charge, Master Klingon, big bad Klingon,
or captain of the Klingon vessel,
captain, whatever. Let's just say Captain Klingon. Yeah. He's like, how dare you destroy that vessel? What is you trying to do? And Spock tries to explain to him how it wasn't their vessel and it was going to fire on them. And there's this moment where he was like, the Klingon's like, or maybe you wanted us to think that. And Spock's like, that's why we killed the ship. And just
I didn't like the way that was written. It was supposed to indicate that the Klingon guy didn't trust him.
But instead it made him look stupid.
Right, and that was a writing thing. Like, I don't think they intended for the Klingons for that guy to come across looking stupid. But that's the way it ended up happening because they wanted to have that sarcastic moment for Spock, that they wanted to have that moment where he was like, well, we wouldn't have done that. It's just poor writing, basically.
Right. So now this is number 6. 6 interactions with the Klingons, and 6 times they've been bested, or they've been beaten, or they've been made to look stupid. Well,
he was saved here, and I think deep down the Klingon realizes that he was saved. So I don't think it's a matter of what else is he supposed to do, or should he have opened fire on Spock?
He shouldn't have addressed an obvious issue, and then Spock gave Spock the ability to then respond by making him look stupid. What I would have done if I was writing this was I would have been like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? I would have dressed Spock down and asked him what the bigger plan was. Why is the Federation here in the first place? I would have ignored the fact that I was just rescued by Spock, and I would have demanded further answers.
Well, but then it's a good thing you're not a Klingon, because that's not how Klingons respond. Klingons respond aggressively and angrily, and a lot of times they don't make a lot of sense. You go back to DS9 or TOS or TNG, the Klingons do not respond appropriately. But I will agree with you to the fact that I didn't think it made any sense the way he was like, well, why did they even need to explain all that shit? It was kind of silly. Like, he could have simply came on and said, why should I trust you? Maybe you're trying to deceive me, right? Because it's possible that Spock destroyed the other vessel and is still trying to deceive him in some way.
Right.
So they could have leaned into that. But I kind of, I like that they tried to end it with somehow peace happening. And they did it with the blood wine, which I thought was appropriate. This Klingon would have been curious, like a Vulcan drinking blood wine. What? Mm-hmm. Maybe they should have made the Klingon a little more gruff. I think that's what you're missing, maybe.
Like I'm missing that like masculine warrior energy.
I haven't seen. Well, you know that there are no men anymore that are actually masculine in Hollywood. So that's gone. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. The Klingons from the 80s and 90s, they can't be reproduced because men no longer exist like that. I'm talking about actors.
I said, ma'am.
Well, no, listen, reality is that you can't be mean anymore. Klingons can't be mean, right? They have to be. I'm sorry, I'm making a joke out of it, but to some degree, the Klingons are a bit less vicious, whatever, I think, than they used to be.
I hate it. It's stupid.
I'll give you a point to that. How about that?
Well, the point is, now every interaction, aside from the blood wine interaction,
right?
This is the only action where the Klingons weren't completely put down, except for right after he turns around, Spock immediately does insult the Klingons' traditions right away.
What did he say?
I don't remember exactly, and I can't play it without copyright, but he does say something about it just like, I know the Klingons are supposed to be sort of like this big, like, sort of warrior race that's sort of like behind, and they but they weren't ever supposed to be like silly. Like, they can do silly things, but just like the Spock, man, like, if you're laughing at Spock in the original series, you're laughing at his, Klingon and sort of alien mannerisms. but you're not laughing at his abilities. I don't feel like the Klingons. You can laugh at Klingons' different, their culture shock or lack of, but like constantly belittling the Klingons. Like,
well, what were they doing? I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand what the belittling was.
They like at no point were the Klingons a threat this entire episode.
They were never intended to win. They were never intended to be an adversary. Remember, remember the group that was doing this was ex Klingon and ex Federation. So they were humans there too. Now, we didn't see them fight them, but that was the group that was trying to start a war. So it wasn't like it was the Klingon Federation down on that planet. Now these guys are part of the Klingon Federation. See, the people that were down on the planet were not part of the Klingon Empire, so to speak. They were expats, according to the explanation.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, do you feel like he made them look foolish here?
No.
So you're saying basically just when they were fighting.
Every other, like I said,
when the La'an took advantage of them.
Every other time aside from the blood wine thing.
Okay.
All right, now Lanthanites. So this is when we learn, and this is getting a download from me, dog. This is when we learn the Lanthanites have been around for eons. They've been on Earth for thousands of years, and they only recently came out as alien in the 22nd century.
That's right.
Why the F do we need this?
Because there's going to be an episode later where...
No.
Commander Pelia.
No. Stop. You got to talk about it as if you haven't seen anything else. Why do we need
No, that's why. That's why.
See, and the thing is, like if you're going to introduce another race that's been on Earth, there are other races you can pick from. You don't have to add another one. You don't have to add a second, a fifth race that has frequented Earth in secret.
Well, you need a race that lives a long time. You need a race that looks humanoid. You would have had to pick Whoopi Goldberg's. You would have had to pick Guinan's race. But the problem is then you got all kinds of problems because Guinan can sense things and there's all kinds of side effects of her race, which they didn't necessarily want to have with Commander Pelia. They really were in no other situation than to create a new race, honestly. If they wanted to have somebody who lived long enough that they could tell a story with her in the past. I don't know how else they would have done it. Or just not have her in the past. How about that?
Just not have her in the past, dude. Like, oh my God.
Maybe she never need, when we get to episode 3, and we do that episode where they go do some time travel stuff. It'll be interesting to see. Do you just flash hashtag me too?
Yeah, I wanted to see what this
is. What the hell is that?
I don't know why.
Is that what she's... Is he me tooing her right now?
I did not mean to do that. We have this like text file right here that my mouse keeps triggering, and you guys can't see it, but I keep seeing this box. I'm like, what the hell is that box? And so I was like, I'm just gonna flash it real quick to see what it says, and I didn't realize that it said hashtag me too. It must have been from a previous show, and I didn't delete the file.
Well, I'll tell you what, that makes things more interesting, especially look at the way she's looking at him. It's not good.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh my God. Look, she's like, you're going to do what?
I'm fascinated by your rare species. I heard you're a Lanthanite. Eagerly engrossed in the act of sexual prowess. He's like,
God.
What, Spock?
So apparently she came out to his mother. So when she decided
it came out to him.
Well, I do believe that Strange New Worlds is using language in situations that don't have anything to do with certain social constructs to indicate, kind of like they got the transporter chief really for no purpose. Mm-hmm. They use a term like coming out because that is an LGBTQ term. Right.
And the transporter chief and the two moms that was like thrown in there real sly like.
Well, it's like it's just little opportunities to pander to that group, which is, what I believe they're trying to think of as their core group audience. So they're trying to add little element. I don't know either, but they're doing it. And one of the things here was that she says she came out to his mom.
I came out to your mother, Spock. He's like,
Right.
oh, really? I'm sorry. I
And,
can't help it.
and in all fairness, I'm like, okay, well, what other word could she have used there? I made myself aware. I don't know what other word to use. So maybe coming out is the only word.
It's weird though, like coming out to his mother. How
Right.
old is his mother, Amanda? It's Amanda, right?
Right.
How old is his mother? She's a human.
Right. She's not that old.
She's not that old. Let's say max, let's say 100 years old. I know that's too old, but let's just say 100 years old.
Yeah. Well, she
So
she's probably like 60.
if she came out to his mother, who is definitely not 100 years old, but we're gonna, for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna say 100 years old. It would have been at least when Amanda was in her a minimum 20s, right?
Sure.
Which means that she just barely came out as a Lanthanite like 70 years ago tops.
Yeah, and what she means by coming out is admitted that she's been on Earth for centuries. That's all it is.
Right. So she just decided to hold that fact for the last like 400 years. when they were hanging out with Vulcans.
Well, she said there was a longer story to it, so who knows? Right. Yeah, Vulcans were already on the planet. You're right. They already knew who Vulcans were, so I'm not sure why they were hiding in plain sight anyways.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a plot device.
They're introducing things that are not necessary, and I don't know why. I don't because
they really wanted to tell this story in episode 3. They really, really, really wanted to tell it, and the only way that they could make that one little thing work, and we won't say what it is, we don't want to ruin it for anybody, was if this person was there.
Yeah, I guess
to have somebody with knowledge of the future, or somebody that they knew existed at that time.
Right.
Tough.
All right. So Spock's about to meet Carol Kane.
Now, apparently she wants to be on the Enterprise because she's bored and she likes Enterprise and she just plans on sticking around.
Yep. And she offers sexual favors in exchange, and Spock...
That is a frightening face there.
Spock agrees wholeheartedly, and...
Yeah, well, he's got lots of ladies on the line right now.
And we'll see the rest of the video in the members section. I'm kidding.
Well, and we also get the impression from La'an that she'll be returning to Starfleet with just a simple look. She looks at Spock in this way that makes you let you know that she'll be returning to Starfleet.
Yeah, and that's a complaint I have for next week, how she's just immediately a part of Starfleet again. Same position, right away. You're like, no one's concerned about this? Okay.
Well, she left of her own accord. Maybe she can come back. I don't know. We do learn that Admiral April is angry over the whole incident. Spock will accept his punishment, but of course, April gives him a pass, but threatens his commission if it ever happens again.
Yeah, and she says, your punishment will be that hangover you have from all the blood wine.
Yeah, well, apparently the reason why he let him off, and as we have yet another emotional moment from Spock with Nurse Chapel he actually does get emotional again. It's amazing how many times Spock gets emotional this episode.
Right.
Can you go forward just a touch and show? Yeah, see, there is water-eyed again.
My dear Chapel. However will you survive, Chapel?
I mean,
look at this. He's crying.
It's just
bro.
too much. I mean, it's like,
Jesus, come on, Spock, pull it together, man.
It's like, listen,
she's
guys,
not even dead. She's recovering. What are you crying about?
Yeah, I really feel like they just want to capitalize on Spock's emotions as much as they can. The thing about Spock that was really cool was not that was emotional. In the original pilot episode, it happened, and you kind of look back on that and go, "Ooh, God, what's that? That's terrible, right? I hate him like that, right?" And then because Spock was so cool, logical, and just, he's an incredible character, and so we don't really want to see him this way, honestly. Right. It's painful to see him so out of character so often. Please have him develop more. You can do so many things with this character. You don't need him to cry or be emotional to get the most out of this character. Trust me. If Ethan Peck, and he's a good actor, if he continues to develop this character just like Leonard Nimoy was able to do, in his words, in his expressions, just with an eyebrow raise, he'll be able to give you everything that you need.
Spock, are you okay? We never had sex in Manga. We never had sex.
You turn everything into sex.
She's
you
like,
that?
She's going to be fine. He's like, oh, carry on. And then he casually walks away. I'll be on my quotas.
So I'm going to downvote that. The last Spock. I just can't. Too much.
But what about when he leaves there to go play with himself?
That's what everybody else would have done. That's
I meant play with his flute. wait, that came out wrong. I meant flute. This is not working for me.
So we learned that the real reason April let him off easy is because they're going to need good officers in the future because they think there might be a possible war with the Gorn.
Dun dun dun.
Downvote.
Downvote.
I'm going to say this again. You cannot do a TV show and take away from another TV show in your universe. It's just not fair. Starfleet, the Federation, had no freaking idea who the Gorn were. None whatsoever.
Right.
Kirk was forced into hanging out with a Gorn on a planet in Arena by another alien civilization. They had no idea who they were. It is going to be so bad if they put the Federation and Starfleet into a war with the Gorn 7 years or 8 years, 9 years, 8 years before Jim Kirk meets them.
Right.
It's just not good.
And Kirk and Spock and the entire crew of the Enterprise had no idea who the Gorn were.
Right.
And how do they explain that?
It's a problem.
It just makes the original series cast and crew of the Enterprise look like idiots. Oh, yeah, those Gorn. Oh, yeah. We fought a whole war. I forgot about that.
Whoever was desperate for the Gorn. I mean, listen, guys, you could have brought in any alien race from the Enterprise show. Any of them. That happened in the past. You shouldn't take races from the future. Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
There was a lot of alien races that we only got glimpses of, a few glimpses of in TOS that we could have utilized here. That TOS, that the characters in TOS clearly knew a lot about, but we only got an episode of them. We could have gotten...
How about the Xindi?
The Xindi. Bring back the Xindi.
Xindi would have made sense, right?
It would have made sense. Or the Tholians. Remember the Tholians? There's a lot of races that you could have played with here and done some work. I don't understand why you had to take a race where it was already established that they knew nothing about this race up until that moment.
It's a huge error, and I just don't know who's making this, who's not saying, oh, we can't do that because they don't know who the Gorn are. I mean, Akiva is a TOS. He says he's a huge TOS fan. I mean, every TOS fan knows where the Gorn came from and how that came about. I mean, if you're making a show, I just don't know how you make such a big mistake. It's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah. I don't know. This is Golantira. Probable object identification.
Here it comes.
Gorn attack. It's not even like... It just says Gorn attack ship. Like not Gorn battle cruiser or Gorn whatever.
Well,
Gorn attack ship.
No fairness. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows what the ships are?
And I do like this. I have this
for nice.
For Nichelle, who was first through the door.
Very nice. Well done.
And showed us.
Okay.
Stories.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so let's
wonder what's going to happen when Captain Kirk dies. Oh, when William Shatner dies. I wonder if Star Trek is going to acknowledge him at all.
Well, on that note, Shane, did you see the tweet that I sent you from Walter Cronin?
No, I missed it. No.
I truly don't understand the disdain everyone has for Bill Shatner. It's like he didn't fall in line, so F him. I don't understand. Walter Cronin said, and I quote here, it's so frustrating. Bill Shatner is not a friend, but his work on Boston Legal cannot be disputed. He brought a great deal to the performance. Thanks for the comment about Boston Legal. Why do you seem to need to say that William Shatner is not your friend? What? This whole tweet makes no sense. But why do you got to start?
What was he responding
with this?
to?
He's just making a random tweet out into the ether.
What?
It wasn't a response. He literally
There was no point?
he went into Twitter and he clicked the tweet button and he started to draft a tweet about this new show he was probably binge watching called Boston Legal. And he's like, man, William Shatner was really good in that. I'm going to talk about how good Boston Legal is. But first, I got to make sure everyone knows that I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't.
The actual F.
I don't
you know
know
what this is, right? This is Chekhov.
Well, Bill was a dick.
Okay,
I mean,
whatever.
let's be honest. Okay.
James Spader didn't say so. James Spader said he was a glorious man.
On Star Trek, on the Star Trek set, TOS, he was a dick. He was not a great castmate because he was the star of the show and he made sure everybody knew it. It's in his own book. He admits it, and people have got a bad taste for him. Now, over the years, him and Leonard Nimoy, they made up. It worked out. They ended up being friends again to some degree. But he really left a bad taste in everybody else's mouth. He was not easy to work with. Now, I think Bill changed after Star Trek on other shows he did, and I think he became kind of a different person as he realized, I'm not the biggest star in the world, but and I think that developed. But I do think it was a pretty bad experience. And the other thing is Bill was the star of the show, 100%. And guys like the characters like Sulu and like Chekhov and Uhura, those characters were very bit characters. They didn't have a lot of time. And it was not an ensemble cast like a lot of the Star Trek is now. So I do think there's a lot of hard feelings there. And, there's no need for him to say he's not a friend. But honestly, they may not be friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people that I worked with at the beginning of my career that were assholes. And I don't consider them friends now. So that's fair. And I love Bill. But let's just be real.
Yeah, and that's fine. You can not like Bill, you can not like him professionally, but like it feels very. I need to make sure all my my checkboxing friends are aware of this right here, that I don't like Bill Shatner.
But I don't think Walter's that way. So here's the thing about
Let me tell you
Walter,
something. When I was in Vegas, he felt that way. When he told me to sit down, sir, he felt like one of those blue-haired Twitter people.
Well, he might be extraordinarily left leaning or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think he has a social. I mean, he ended up doing Star Trek Picard season 3, and they like recorded his audio at his house. Like he lives in the same neighborhood with Todd Stashwick.
Yeah, and I get that. Yeah,
it's there's an element of it might just be, in my opinion, I could be wrong here, but he really might just hate Bill from when they worked together, and They probably never worked together again. And it's like I said, I have a couple of coworkers that were real assholes that were in charge when I was young, and I did not like them, and I probably now don't have good thoughts of them.
Imagine,
and I'm not going to,
He's like, it has nothing to do with politics. I just don't like Bill.
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But now it could have something to do with politics, but I truly believe that the people who don't like William Shatner from the original series, they probably really don't like him, from what happened during the original series.
Yeah. And then that's fair. I just find odd that you have to start your tweet. Listen, I really like Boston Legal, and
it is odd.
William Shatner was really good, but don't forget, we're not friends.
No, he led it with "We're not friends." Yeah, he's like, he's not a friend,
but he was really good in Boston Legal.
I mean, that's almost even more of a compliment, because somebody who was carrying like hatred for somebody to still be able to pay you a compliment, even though you don't like them, is pretty high praise.
Right.
When you think about it, right? Like, God,
I
really hate that guy, but damn, he's good in that show. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know about.
Yeah, there was a response to this where it was like, William Shatner was born to play Denny Crane, and Spader was born to play Shore.
100% true.
No offense to Star Trek, but the way he brought a little more dementia to the character as the seasons went on were brilliant. I'm like, listen, that wasn't acting.
That was really
no. Right, you know what's funny? Spader has nothing but good things to say about Bill Shatner. I read a one of his biographies where he's like he's the guy who's in love with William Shatner. He thinks he's one of the greatest things to happen to him, huh?
Everybody is.
Except for Walter Cronin, apparently.
I'm telling you, except for that first experience people had where he was that was the first time Bill was the star of the show. You understand? He'd been acting. He done all kinds of other stuff, Westerns and all kinds of stuff, but that was his show. Like Star Trek, he was number one. He was first Bill. You know what I'm saying? First build. So I think it went a little to his head.
Yeah, maybe that's true. All right. All right. Well, that said, this show did get a rock solid. What? 1.
1.
We got a 1.
Yeah.
That's
not a great start.
Not a great start. Not a great.
But it's not a negative start.
You're right. You know what? Yeah, it's always you are always finding, the little goodness in things. It's not a negative. It's a positive +1, and that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. It could have been. I mean, trust me, we've had shows that were negative end scores.
Yeah, negative like 9, right? Pretty bad, yeah.
But I will say VFX held this one up.
Yeah, you guys really saved this show.
You guys saved the heck out of this episode.
All right, that said, we'll be back later on today at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. That's p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our Unleashed show. So come back for that. And if you don't gonna make that, you just want to watch the reviews, then every Thursday at 6 a.m. right here on the podcast Unleashed.